Okay, Charles, let's take a look at your homework from last week, the activity schedule.
Not very much on it.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Let's see. Well, you did complete most of it. Okay, I don't see mastery ratings, but you have pleasure ratings for everything. So that's good. So let's see. You woke up at 8, you drank coffee and read the paper, and you rated that as a 2 for pleasure. You went to the grocery store, rated that as a 3. Let's see, at noon, you ate a sandwich and watched TV, and you rated that as a 2 for pleasure. You took a nap, and then the mail arrived, and you looked at bills, and you rated that as a 2 for pleasure. You ate dinner at a Chinese place and rated that as a 3, and then you watched some more TV and rated that as a 2. Okay, so tell me about the mastery ratings, Charles. What made it difficult to complete those?
I don't see the point. And I mean, how do you master watching TV or eating a meal? If I had tried to use chopsticks, I suppose it would have some mastery involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't mess with chopsticks.
Okay.
Food was okay,
Mm-hmm.
but not great.
Okay. So it was tough. And I just want to be clear, though, Charles, that this is very typical, though, for many people that we work with. It's very difficult to complete homework worksheets because things happen, right? I don't feel that well sometimes. Things get in the way. There's things that just prevent me from doing that. So I think our job together is to try to figure out what are the sort of barriers that make these sort of things difficult. So what would you say? What would be some barriers that made it difficult to complete your mastery ratings?
I don't enjoy anything, I used to enjoy a lot of things, but I don't even I don't look forward to breakfast particularly. Cup of coffee. The news is mostly bad, and what if there is news? I mean, the paper doesn't carry much national news anymore. So I mean, I have to eat, but I really don't see the point of a lot of things.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think something that will be useful for both of us, Charles, is to collaboratively work together and figure out how we can look at the perceived benefit of doing some of these things versus the cons. So there's a worksheet that I have called a decisional balance worksheet, and it basically takes two separate decisions. One decision is to engage in activities, and there's some benefit to doing that. And then another decision would be to not engage in activities. There's benefit to that. But there's also cost to both of those decisions. So I think one objective way for you and I to look at this worksheet would be to determine what are the sort of things you could do and determine whether there's more benefit or cost to completing that. What do you think about that?
Okay, then sure, that sounds okay.
Okay, so let's take a look at this decisional analysis, and I'll explain it to you. Okay, so here's the worksheet. Here's a pen. And as you can see, Charles, there's 4 boxes. And at the top of the boxes, there's one decision, which is to change. So it's the decision to engage in activities. Well, if we're honest about it, there are benefits to doing that. But if you look at the right box, there's also cons and costs to doing that. And at the bottom of the worksheet, the other decision is to stay the same. And if we're honest, there's benefits to staying the same, right? But there's also cons or costs to staying the same in the right-hand box. So our decision, our job together is to try to figure out which makes the most sense for you. So let's start with the most obvious one, and that would be to engage in activity, since that's what we've been talking about. So what would be some perceived benefit of engaging in certain activities to you?
Well, that would depend on the activity, I know, but
Okay.
I could get in touch with somebody. I could call a friend, maybe try to meet somebody for lunch.
Okay, that's a great idea. So what would be a benefit of calling a friend or meeting someone for lunch?
Well, I would enjoy the company.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be as lonely, I suppose.
Okay, that sounds great. So sounds like one benefit would be you'd enjoy the company
Yeah.
and you wouldn't be as lonely. So I'd write that down. Those are really
Okay.
good.
Company,
Company, and you said not as lonely. I
not
believe.
lonely.
That's good. Okay. Okay. Can you think of the downside to potentially doing that?
Well, one downside might be that he wouldn't be interested in having lunch with me. I haven't been a whole lot of fun lately, and or he might be busy and might not be able to have lunch,
Okay.
or he might want to talk about what's going on in my life, and I really don't want to talk about that with somebody. I don't talk about it with you, of course.
Okay. So it sounds like the most practical one of those would be that he may be busy, right? That could be the downside, is that he could be
Right.
busy.
Okay. Might not be able to come.
Sure. Okay. So I'd write that. It's a great job, Charles, with the top two boxes with the first decision. So let's move to the second decision, which would be to stay the same. And there's some benefit to that, and there's some cost to that as well.
Sure.
Okay, Charles, so we completed the worksheet. So what's your overall impression about the benefits of changing versus the cons and staying the same?
Well, it makes sure that the benefits outweigh the cons if I make the change. If I don't make the change, I'll be doing just what I've been doing, and I'll be getting up wondering what's the point, and we'll still be lonely. And if I do call somebody, and if they do say sure, then I'd have at least some time with somebody else whose company I enjoy.
Okay. Those are good observations, Charles. So which activity does it make the most sense to try for homework this week?
Well, I called somebody, I think.
Okay. Okay. That's a good observation. So let's say for homework, then you try to call someone to get together with a friend. And how about also trying to complete a full day of the activity schedule and completing both the mastery and the pleasure ratings? What do you think about that?
Sure, okay.
Okay, and if it gets difficult, which again, that's pretty normal for that to take place. If it gets hard, we can talk about it next time and we can problem solve together and figure out how to remove those barriers. Does that sound good?
Sure, okay.
Okay.